Welcome back to yet another video about Roman's Christmas. This time we're going to be talking about Herrin and the incidents that led up to basically half of the murders in the game proper. So again, if you haven't seen the Roman's Christmas playthrough, make sure to click on the link in the description below this video. You can go to the playlist just there and you'll be able to watch 3 or 4 context. Let's talk about why Herrin is just the worst. So there's actually a lot of interconnected tissue between Herrin and most of the people who show up. Well, at least 3. So there's a couple of different camps that happen in Roman's Christmas just based on their stories. So, you know, we've got Cain, who is related to Luna and Solar through Sean. We've got Peter and Giannis. Like, there's a big web that gets woven over the course of the woven in the course of the game. But the web we want to talk about right now is the relationship between Herrin, Elegant, Thrivey, and Vincel. So we know that back in the day, Herrin and an unnamed abbot were embezzling money from the church during the construction of this cathedral. They covered it up by using shoddy materials and like shortcuts in the construction process. While these two noble brothers are visiting it, Vincel, under his original name Jonathan, and his brother Brando, the building collapses. It kills Brando, and in the aftermath of the cathedral collapse, Herrin is the one that's supposed to write the report, and he lays the blame for the shitty construction on the feet of the 2 brothers. Jonathan is taken a task for this. He gets stripped of his title, and he has to basically reestablish himself, which he does as Vincel, the spice merchant. He hires Elegant to infiltrate the clergy and find out who exactly was the one that caused the building to collapse. Elegant never knew who her employer actually was. She was just hired anonymously. Just because of how fate sort of threw them all together, Elegant ends up at the inn with her employer and Herrin. How does Thrivey fit into all this? Back in the day, most of the medicine in the region that this is based off of was tied up really with the church. That's where the hospitalateur comes from. So Thrivey and Herrin, when they were younger, both operated out of the same, I guess, rectory would be the right word, wherever they were going to learn the basics of their religious education. Herrin was a humongous bully to Thrivey, and as we see in one of the dreams, Herrin was abusing Thrivey so much that he eventually broke the guy's leg. Herrin apparently forgot about this because he never makes any sort of mention of like, oh yeah, there's that dragon I went to school with. I remember that guy. Thrivey goddamn well sure does know. It's not something I really bring up much during my Let's Play, but there are a lot of points where Thrivey sees Herrin and Thrivey just likes it. So what do we know about Herrin? He's a crook. He's a swindler. He's willing to throw other people under the bus. He's a bully. He's a loudmouth. He's a drunkard. He's basically everything that makes a priest look really, really bad. We see him bossing around Anzocs. We see him lying. We see him guzzling alcohol, basically from when he walks in the door. And all of this kind of points to one thing for me. Herrin is a habitual abuser. There have been some conversations that I've had about Herrin where the defense is basically, look, he knows he was a bad guy. He obviously feels guilty about it. And, you know, if he's given the right opportunity, he will eventually repent. I disagree about that. Having known some abusers in my life, this is a pathological pattern of the abuser. They know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're doing is hurting people. And they might feel guilt about it, but they're never actually going to change their ways because what they do in their eyes works. And, you know, up to the point where Herrin actually gets caught in the revised timeline, it had been working for him. You know, he got away with bullying this kid. He got away with the church collapse. He got away with not getting murdered twice because he was able to walk away from the stuff with the church. He was able to force Anzocs to go in his place. and he was just raw lucky when it came to Peter. What he was doing when he was in the room at the very end of the game when Anzox comes down as the angel was what I call performative apology. He is contextualizing his religion in such a way that he can absolve himself of guilt for what he knows are bad actions without actually having to make up any of his mistakes or change or grow as a person to any of the people he's actually harmed. If Herrin actually wanted to apologize and make things better, which is implied by, again, the performative apology, he says he wants to do better. He says he's changed to be a better person. He's clearly not, because he knows who Vincel is, or at least he could have recognized, like, oh yeah, I remember seeing 2 lynxes go into that building and 1 lynx get pulled out of the rubble. Interesting. And he doesn't remember Thrivey at all. Like, if he actually wanted to apologize, him hurting someone enough to break their leg would weigh on him, and he'd be like, oh yeah, that's the kid that I threw down the stairs. I should go apologize and make things better. But, and this is something you can use to recognize abusers in real life, he never actually does that. He says he feels guilty and he says he's changed. The fact that he at no point takes even a second to go, now why would someone be trying to kill me? Never comes up. Never any introspection on what he'd actually done. So personally, I feel like Thrivey did the right thing when he killed him. Like, I know that sounds really harsh, but there gets to be a certain point where the guy's hands are squeaky clean. He's never going to change. Everything he's doing is going to lead into more and more people getting harmed. Thrivey saw the opportunity of just like, look, this guy's going to get other people killed. I need to stop this right now, as his opportunity to actually get some justice for the people that Herrin had harmed. Which again is why I feel like the ending where Thrivey kills him and walks away scot-free, that's the best ending in the game, because fuck that guy. You can do some, I'll put some links in the description below for you to do some reading about abusers in the real world. Because again, this is a fictional character, it doesn't actually matter, but it is a good foot in the door for, if somebody in your life is being abusive, for you to have resources to recognize that behavior. I was in abusive relationships personally for years of my life. And when you're in them, if you don't have some external context to really clarify what's going on, it's not clear. When you're in that situation, when you're the victim of abuse, it's not clear. But abusers always have commonality of behavior between them. So if you feel like someone in your life is really giving you a hard time, is really belittling you, is making you feel like all of your mistakes are your fault and all of their mistakes are your fault as well, things like that, just read the resources in the description below, and maybe you'll be able to isolate patterns of abuse, and you can get help and maybe get these things to change. But ultimately, remember, it's about making sure that you're safe and happy first, and then getting the person who is the abuser into therapy. Because if Herrin had a grief counselor or any sort of therapy other than just giving it up to the abbot in confession, the abbot that helped him embezzle the funds, I think that he would have eventually turned around and made amends before more people got killed. So that's just my opinion on Herrin. It was just something that stuck with me because it's something that's similar to things that have happened in my life. And if it's something that's, resonating with you, maybe look into it. You don't have to tell me about it in the comments below. Just tell me your thoughts about, I don't know, what's your favorite pie? Put that in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode where we talk about what the potential sequel could be.